Welcome to Tech Bytes YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, feel most welcome, and if are a returning subscriber, thanks for the continued support. We are going to review a quarterfinal match between Morocco and Portugal. As the field continues to narrow and the World Cup trophy comes closer into sight, Trailblazers Morocco meet quarterfinal opponents Portugal at Al Thumama Stadium on Saturday. Now set to battle it out for a place in the Final Four, the Atlas Lions held off Spain before emphatically winning on penalties to reach this stage for the first time, while the Selecao were a side transformed as they slayed Switzerland in the last 16. Assuring hero status forevermore, Achraf Hakimi applied the most delicate of finishing touches to Morocco's defensive masterclass on Tuesday, as his Panenka penalty condemned Spain to a 3-0 shootout defeat and sent the North African nation through to the quarterfinals. Having battled hard to resist the Spanish death by 1,000 passes approach, Walid Regragui's side had sacrificed the bulk of possession to grind out a goalless draw and set the stage for a spectacular finale, during which goalkeeper Yassine Bono saved 2 spot kicks and joined Hakimi as an eternal icon in Rabat, Marrakesh and beyond. Becoming just the 4th African side to reach the last 8 at a World Cup, and the first for 12 years, sent a packed Education City stadium wild, as it was largely populated by Moroccan fans whose fervor has proved such a prominent feature of these finals. The Atlas Lions' only previous appearance in the last 16 came back in 1986, and Regragui's men have not only broken new ground for their nation but also the Arab world. In the process, they extended an unbeaten run in the World Cup to 5 matches and kept a remarkable 6th clean sheet from their last 7 outings. With the quality and commitment of Hakimi, fellow fullback Noussair Mazraoui, plus their center-backs and tireless midfield anchor Sofiane Amrabat, a Morocco squad drawn partly from the diaspora has developed into one of international football's meanest defensive units. Fending off members of the European establishment such as Croatia and Belgium also saw them finish first in Group F earlier on in the campaign, so tackling Portugal should hold no fears for the quarterfinals outsiders. Welcome to Tech Bytes YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, feel most welcome, and if are a returning subscriber, thanks for the continued support. We are going to review a quarterfinal match between Morocco and Portugal. As the field continues to narrow and the World Cup trophy comes closer into sight, Trailblazers Morocco meet quarterfinal opponents Portugal at Al Thumama Stadium on Saturday. Now set to battle it out for a place in the Final Four, the Atlas Lions held off Spain before emphatically winning on penalties to reach this, rewarded for asserting his authority by benching Portugal's iconic captain. Fernando Santos enjoyed perhaps his greatest triumph since 2016's European Championship success this week, when the Selecao stormed past Switzerland and into the last 8 of Qatar 2022. A far more mobile and proactive attack resulted from dropping aging superstar Cristiano Ronaldo, and his replacement, Benfica starlet Gonçalo Ramos, was certainly up to the task of replacing the dethroned king. Having lashed home an unstoppable opener, the 21-year-old went on to complete a fairy-tale hat-trick in Portugal's 6-1 victory, and he was the first treble of the tournament, on his very first senior start. If there were any doubts that the future has arrived right now in Portuguese football, Milan winger Rafael Leao capped off his team's blitz of the Swiss by firing in the 6th goal of a display that made the world sit up and take notice. Despite a late lapse against South Korea when already qualified, Santos had seen his side negotiate safe passage through the World Cup's first phase as Group H winners, and with 3 wins and 12 goals to their name already, they may well believe they can now lift the trophy for the very first time. Eusebio-inspired semi-finalists in 1966, Portugal has more recently belied their relatively modest population to win the Euros and Nations League. For all their youth-level success, the Iberians have never made it to a senior global final, but Saturday's clash with Morocco presents a chance to take one step closer to the beautiful game's grandest prize. On Tuesday, Portugal's most capped player, 195, an all-time leading goalscorer, 118, Cristiano Ronaldo now finds himself consigned to the bench, and new Selecao star Gonçalo Ramos starts up front instead. Fernando Santos also omitted João Cancelo against Switzerland, favoring Rafael Guerreiro as left back and Diogo Dalot on the right, and that selection may remain unchanged. Another of his less heralded inclusions, Otavio, should continue in midfield, while William Carvalho hopes to hold off the challenge of Ruben Neves to retain his place in the Portuguese engine room. Meanwhile, Nuno Mendes was earlier ruled out of the knockout stages due to injury and Danilo is still a doubt. In the latter's likely absence, Ruben Dias should partner 39-year-old Pepe at the heart of the back four. In contrast to some chopping and changing in the Portugal lineup, Morocco have fielded a relatively settled 11 throughout the finals. However, Walid Regragui has several fitness concerns about some integral cogs in his well-oiled machine, none more so than West Ham United defender Naya Figueroa. The ever-present centre-back faces a race against time after he was taken off in tears during the victory over Spain, and captain Roman Saiz completed the game by strapping to his leg. Furthermore, Sofiane Amrabat played through the pain with a back problem. Both full-backs have also experienced injury issues in Qatar, but if all are available, a side spearheaded by attacking trio Sofiane Boufal, Hakim Ziyech, and Youssef En-Nesyri will look very similar to that which eliminated La Roja. Morocco possible starting lineup: Bono, Hakimi, Saiz, Agard, Mazraoui, Ounahi, Amrabat, Amala, Ziyech, En-Nesyri, Boufal. Portugal possible starting lineup: Costa, Dalot, Pepe, Dias, Guerreiro, B. Silva, Carvalho, Otavio, Fernandes, Ramos, Felix. Final thoughts. When these nations last locked horns at the World Cup finals, Morocco emerged 3-1 victors back in 1986, but some 36 years later the scoreline could be very different. Even the Atlas Lions' fierce defensive commitment surely cannot keep one of the tournament's most potent teams at bay for 120 minutes, and one of Portugal's cast of rising stars, or perhaps even a wily old head, will find a way to seal a spot in the semi-finals. Rewarded for asserting his authority by benching Portugal's iconic captain, Fernando Santos enjoyed perhaps his